afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Donella Caspers. I'm the Western Region Regional Coordinator, and I look after teams in Western Australia and South Australia. And it's my great pleasure to introduce the University of Western Australia with their faculty advisors Tennille Travascus and Brett Smith.
You have 1 minute left in your setup period. Right, now begin your presentation.
Peter Drucker once said, "The entrepreneur always searches for opportunity, responds to it, and exploits it as an opportunity." My name is Natalie.
I'm Meng.
My name is Molly.
And I'm Jasmine. And this year at Enactus UWA, with this entrepreneurial mindset, we've impacted 7,558 people in developing countries and our own backyard.
Today we'll be focusing on 5 of our 8 projects. Firstly, Mama Shuja, our microfinance project in Kenya.
Rishu, our shoe recycling venture, impacting communities in Australia and Africa.
The Kamar Cooperative, which aims to implement a self-sustaining health fund in the Comoros.
Ingenious, which addresses the needs of Australia's Indigenous tertiary students.
And Finance for Life, which provides financial literacy support to youth.
Across all our projects, we have actively targeted people in need, building within them the capacity to live empowered lives. We aim for sustainability, but more importantly, we strive to make a difference that can radiate throughout communities.
Let's start with Mama Shuja.
In the Korogocho slums of Kenya, nearly 200,000 people live in the crowded space of just 1.5 square kilometres. 3 years ago, we partnered with Bee Kids Australia and were introduced to a group of single mothers from the Korogocho slums. They walked 4 hours to work every day to earn just $1.50 washing clothes.
Through Mama Shuja, we have taught these women small business skills and have provided them with a microfinance loan to establish Kio Cafe.
As the women have grown in confidence, our direct involvement in the project has declined as it tracks towards sustainability. We now receive in-depth monthly reports from Monica, the manager at Kio Cafe, and provide operational guidance where required. In the last financial year, Monica and her team at the Kio Cafe turned a profit of $1,246 Australian dollars.
And by empowering the women who run this cafe, it has had a ripple effect in their community. 5 other women have been inspired to create a cereal shop.
Monica ran a business that saw 5 women get an earning capacity, bring up their kids, earn a wage, and learn things. And so did the other women who had left the cafe. They were watching them. And now 5 women are working together in the cereal shop, and they are looking after their families. They now have an income. And I hope when I go back the next time, another cell of the women from the group we've been working with will come out with, because they will see what the success rate is.
The most exciting thing about the Mama Shuja project in the last year is that it's been a catalyst for change in the Corrigocho slums.
Another project with an international focus is Reshoe.
30 million shoes end up in Australian landfill each year, many of which are still in a usable condition.
Meanwhile, in developing countries, 2 billion people are affected by soil-borne parasites and diseases which can be easily prevented by wearing the proper footwear.
Reshoe is our shoe recycling venture, which turns the domestic waste issue into an opportunity for empowerment and disease prevention. We take used shoes and divert them to developing countries, where they provide a means for unemployed people to commence their own shoe vending businesses and to protect the feet of vulnerable citizens from parasites.
The Reshoe project has 3 main stages: collection, sorting and distribution. The shoes are collected from a wide network of schools, businesses and other community organisations.
We contract with Paraquat Industries, a local disabilities employer, to sort the shoes. In Australia, only 54% of people with disabilities participate in the workforce. This employment, through Reshoe, increases the workers' independence and their sense of inclusion and well-being.
The shoes are then shipped off to their destination, where our partner provides a small group of unemployed locals with basic training so that they can start their own shoe vending businesses. Each vendor receives their initial bundle of shoes for free, with subsequent inventory purchased with their earnings. With approximately 13,000 pairs of shoes per container, this covers the costs of the next shipment of shoes and is the key to the long-term sustainability of our project.
In the past year, we have collected around 6,500 shoes from 18 schools and businesses. We have sent 34 pairs of shoes to the Korongoni Special Needs Orphanage in Moshi, Tanzania, increasing the children's standard of living. The remaining shoes in Perth are bound for Kenya to the Little Sports Organisation, which runs weekly sports classes for thousands of children. Community health officers are extremely pleased at being able to focus on the prevention of foot diseases rather than the treatment.
This divergence from our original Reshoe model has come in response to challenges faced in our first shipment of shoes to Ghana. The container of 13,000 pairs of shoes arrived at their destination in July last year.
However, due to the unorthodox business practices of the Ghanaian port authorities and the lack of accountability of our partner, the shoes could not be moved off the port. This meant our project could not progress to the next stage, distribution to vendors. However, after very extensive negotiations, the shoes cleared customs 2 weeks ago.
During this interruption, we continue to receive many shoes and expressions of interest from schools and other community organisations. But the issues overseas led us to question, was our Reshoe model flawed?
Over the last year, we have re-evaluated the project. We realised we had not approached it with the foresight required of an international enterprise. Cultural factors have been thoroughly considered in relation to our target group. We had not realised the impact they would have on the logistical and business dimensions of the project. In response, we have developed the stage gate model, a process for project planning and development that we now apply across all of our projects.
Our stage gate model ensures that we lay the best possible foundation for all our projects during its initial concept stage. Before a project is launched, it must pass 3 investigative stages: discovery and scoping, business case, and development and testing. At each stage, project teams must prepare a set of documents such as a needs analysis or impact measurement plan for evaluation. These deliverables are then assessed by a small review panel of Business Advisory Board members. They ensure that we have adequately considered the relevant business factors and taken action to mitigate risks. A decision is then made as to whether the project should continue, review, or wind down.
We're taking Reshoe Round 2 through our stage gate model, starting with an initial needs analysis. With an entrepreneurial mindset, we have reacted and adapted to the obstacles faced in the past year. Meanwhile, continuing to divert shoes away from landfill, engage young Australians, and continue to improve the quality of life and standard of living for children in Tanzania. Through determination and learning from our experiences, we are refining the blueprint of the Reshoe micro franchise so that it can be replicated worldwide.
We feel that we have learnt a lot from our experience with Reshoe, and we are applying these lessons in our proposed project, the Kamar Cooperative.
Nestled in the Indian Ocean, 7,500 kilometres off the coast of Perth, is the culturally diverse African archipelago, the Comoros.
Here, 45% of the population lives below the poverty line. There are only 3 doctors for every 20,000 residents, and health services have actually deteriorated over the years.
Government expenditure on health is extremely low at only 4.4% of GDP and is often supplemented by international aid and private charities.
One such organisation is the Australian Doctors for Africa, or ADFA, who periodically visit the Comoros to provide medical treatment. Though international aid is important to begin remedying the issues faced in the Comoros, it lacks sustainability.
This year, we were approached by ADFA to come up with a solution to provide quality, sustainable healthcare. We realised low incomes were creating a barrier to self-sufficiency.
The Kamar Cooperative will implement an income generation strategy in order to kickstart a communal health fund. One possible way we're looking at to achieve this is by developing a trade tie between a Comorian vanilla farming community and a cosmetic producer in Australia. This will generate profits, a portion of which we'll set aside for the health fund.
This health fund can then be used to enhance the medical services and equipment in the community as the need arises. Once again, this is only one option, and a final model will be cemented in the next coming months after consulting with relevant stakeholders, such as government officials and village heads in the Comoros. In the next coming months, ADFA are sending a team to the Comoros to achieve this.
Using the framework of the stage gate model, we are consciously devoting a significant amount of time and resources to the initial stages of this project. We are also taking on board lessons learnt in our other international projects, such as Reshoe. This diligence should ensure that the Kamar Cooperative can eventually evolve into an enterprise that makes a long-term, meaningful and positive impact.
In the past year, we have consulted with established insurance companies such as HBF and the Paraplegic Benefit Fund to refine the model.
In a year's time, the Kamar Cooperative will hopefully have developed into a project that raises the incomes and health standards of a Comorian village.
Whilst continuing to expand our efforts abroad, here at Enactus UWA, we recognise the pressing needs that exist in our own backyard. One project with a purely domestic focus is Ingenious.
This year, only 7% of Indigenous students will graduate high school with an ATAR above 50. Of those who do make it to university, 35% will not complete their first year.
This is Kyla. At the start of this year, Kyla was struggling to add fractions. In June, through persistent and supportive one-on-one tutoring by our Vice President James, she achieved 72% in her differentiation and linear algebra exam. 2 weeks later, she was teaching Pythagoras' theorem to Indigenous Year 9 students at the remote community of Halls Creek. Kyla's journey embodies the vision of our project, Ingenious.
Through stories like hers, we recognise the power of an effective tutoring program. However, this is not the norm. Indigenous academic tutoring programs around Australia are often isolated, disorganised and inefficient.
Ingenious is a tailored academic tutoring service which reforms the current support system to empower young Indigenous students.
High-quality, passionate tutors will be recruited and they will undertake ongoing cultural awareness training. They will be matched with students and act not only as academic tutors, but also as mentors during the transition to tertiary education.
The structure of Ingenious will ensure that there's a reduction of costs, quality control, and efficient communication channels, addressing the problems inherent in the current system. We will implement comprehensive performance measures to ensure that there is long-term academic achievement.
Ingenious will be financially sustainable with revenue generated through commission paid for tutor hours. Our pilot program in semester 2 is projected to generate approximately $4,095 in revenues.
And to date, we've been awarded $1,000 from the Awesome Foundation, been recognised by PwC's Young Entrepreneurs Mentorship Program. And for the past 6 months, we've been liaising with St Catherine's College UWA to prepare our pilot program to be launched in August.
In the future, we hope to expand Ingenious into other tertiary colleges and high schools around the state, with profits channelled into funding a remote outreach program so that the impact of Ingenious can spread to other communities.
Ingenious joins Finance for Life, our oldest project that has been utilised by students across Australia since 2005.
When making an investment, 77% of Australia's youth would not consider risk. 61% wouldn't consider return, but more importantly, 83% of Australia's youth said they wanted to find out more about money issues.
Finance for Life is our financial literacy program which addresses this need. The program includes a teacher's manual and an online simulation game, providing an engaging and collaborative resource which can be easily integrated into classrooms around Australia.
Not only is it ASIC accredited, but in the past year, Finance for Life has been accessed by 5,150 students across the nation, from Bunbury to Brisbane, a 15% increase from the year before. By transferring valuable knowledge, we effectively empower these students in need.
They come from generations of living from pay packet to pay packet. They could see, well, God, if I choose right, I can make some money putting it into property, or I can pick a better bank account, because they don't all offer the same. They didn't even have any idea about that banks offer different interest rates. So it definitely gave them information that they'd never had before.
Although the program has been fully self-sustainable for 3 years, this year we're taking it to the next level after receiving feedback from teachers about the need to include a basic budgeting module into the game. To address this, we are partnering with BHP Billiton and using our stage gate model as a basic foundation for this expansion.
As a testament to the strong reputation of Finance for Life in the community, BHP Billiton are eager to offer their most senior employees to facilitate the program in schools.
So just like Mama Shuja, the impact of Finance for Life is now radiating throughout communities.
This year at Enactus UWA, we've considered the relevant economic, social and environmental factors.
The plight of our environment, employment of people with disabilities, and the health of children in Africa, illustrated by Rishu.
We've effectively empowered people in need
by providing 5,150 students with the skills they need to deal with their finances in their future through Finance for Life.
We've taken business and economic concepts and an entrepreneurial approach
by reacting to obstacles through the development of our stage gate system, which allows us to effectively evaluate all our projects.
And we've improved living standards and quality of life
by raising incomes and creating a sense of ownership and self-worth for 5 Kenyan mothers in Mama Shuja.
At Enactus UWA, we are global citizens.
We are addressing needs not only in our own backyard, but also in communities overseas.
Linking these needs together, we are creating projects which are global solutions.
Building the capacity of Enactus to create impact across borders and truly embodying what we as a team believe is the spirit of Enactus.
At Enactus UWA, we are seizing opportunities and contributing to a more sustainable tomorrow. I'd now like to invite our presidents, Lauren and Amy, on stage for questions.
We will now begin the question and answer period.
I'm loud and naturally, that's fine. Great presentation, but I do have a question for you regarding the... Thank you very much. Great presentation, well thought out, great results, but I do have a question for you about your succession plan. Do you have templates and processes in place to train future Enactus WA members?
Yeah, so I suppose there are a few aspects to the succession planning that we take at Enactus UWA. The first is through our recruitment. We always aim to recruit students from a wide cross-section of the university, whether that be across different faculties or even year groups, so more mature students as well as students who are just beginning their university journey, to ensure that they have a few years at least to be active members. The second is that we always have relevant documentation. For example, we have a project plan in place, bring it back to the stage gates model again, so future students can always refer back to that to see how the project developed in its history and its original purposes. And in addition to that, we also have project management utensils such as Basecamp and Google Drive, things like that, to ensure that it's all documented and people can understand.
Again, great presentation, great results. My question is around Mama Shuja. I don't really understand what you did as a team, so if I can get some clarity, was it just facilitating microfinance or something else? You can just elaborate on that, please.
Okay, sure. So Mama Shuja was set up a few years ago in conjunction with Bee Kids Australia. When the idea was originally floated, we had 2 students fly over to the Korogocho slums of Kenya with Joan Peters of Bee Kids Australia, and they carried out a feasibility analysis as well as a needs analysis, and then came back and we developed the idea even more. After that, a couple of years after that happened, another 2 students went over and carried out some interactive lessons with the women of Kiu Cafe to teach them basic business skills. And so now, once the cafe has been set up, we take a less active role but still maintain that contact in tracking the financial reports and ensuring there are no inconsistencies and assisting where we can if they request so.
Just for clarification, how many people have gone through the Indigenous program?
Ingenious is a project that we have been developing over the past 6 months, and it hasn't had any students yet, but the pilot program will begin in August with St Catherine's College of UWA.
That said, the idea from Ingenious came from an earlier project that we had, Firelight, which was sort of an entrepreneurial workshop, and we ran that with 35 students, and sort of through that we were, as a team, inspired to take the more tutoring route rather than these workshops.
Thank you. Great work. A lot of ground here. Which project is your longest running out of these? I was just trying to. Would it be in that Finance for Life area?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and so it's all. You've got a very large breadth here. So which would you say are the strongest results? Can you help us with, out of these projects, where would you say your strongest results have been achieved?
I would definitely say with Finance for Life, just because it's such an established project. And these results are not just quantitative. I mean, 5,150 students have accessed Finance for Life in the past year, but now that number's heading towards 20,000 in total since the rollout has happened. But also how we've qualitatively impacted them, and we've measured that through surveys which have really shown, pre and post surveys, which have shown extremely promising results. And we do recognise that this is one of our strongest projects, and that's why we're really trying to use it to exploit more opportunities, because we're really working from a very solid foundation, and we just want to empower even more people with that.
Just one question. With Ingenious, you're talking about tutoring hours. Knowing that universities are winding back financially on a lot of tutoring hours, how do you expect to fund that aspect?
Okay, so with Ingenious, the tutors will be directly employed. So, for example, in our pilot program, the tutors...
Your time has expired. Judges, would you join me in thanking the University of Western WA?